what is it, what it takes to create a good story?
I think there are some rules to storytelling, and we just don't apply ourselves enough to learn those. But a founder, or for that matter, everyone should learn those rules of storytelling. So I always suggest 3 simple rules for every time you want to build some kind of a narrative, right? And which applies to founders and to others as well, right? Number 1 rule, it has to be terribly simple. Now, if it is not simple, people will not be able to process it, right? So whatever if you have to oversimplify it, do that, right? If it is a fundamentally complicated thought, and simplifying it will kind of diminish the overall say expansiveness of that whole idea, still do that. You cannot not have a simple story, right? The story has to be oversimplified, right? So if Steve Jobs could say computers is the bicycle of the mind in the 70s and 80s, that is an example of an oversimplification, but a beautiful narrative building approach, right? So say you can do things simply rather than say walking, it gives you leverage, and that's computer for you. Of course, we all know that's a very, very, kind of a compromised definition of what it really is, but it doesn't matter. It's a beautiful narrative, right? And at least it worked at the time it was being told, right? So rule number 1, be extremely simple. Rule number 2, when you are building a narrative, it should affect you both logically and emotionally. It's an important part. If a narrative is told and it affects you or it impacts you only logically, you will not remember it. You will forget, right? The other person is unlikely to remember it. And if it is only emotionally, then it will not add up once the person remembers, right? So there's a reason why you do not remember what you were taught in class 12, but you fully remember the story of DDLJ even today. Right? Because it affected you emotionally, right? So you can still narrate, Raj went there, Simran went there, and this is what happened, right? You probably would not have seen it in the last 20 years, but you still remember it. Because it affected you emotionally. So emotionally and logically, if you mix the two, then it's a very deadly cocktail. Right? So
the thought process that most of these storytellers use by adding humor at times to their stories is part of that.
Humor is a great way. It's difficult, right, to be humorous at times, but you can actually script it, right? So most stand-up comedians work on a script. They are not really as spontaneous as they like to sound like, right? They sound spontaneous, but they are not spontaneous. So even, especially for example, if you're a founder and doing you're pitching it to investor, you can't sound funny, and that would be completely scripted. Of course, you have to train yourself to do that, but it's doable.
So you effectively bring the attention back to yourself, because
that's right.
If it is too much logical at times, it starts getting boring as well. Huh?
Yes, people will forget it. They will not feel for it, right? The mushy feeling will not happen, right? And my own philosophy is people buy primarily for that illogical, mushy feeling that they have inside, rather than how they think, right? So, but logic is important. But if you can mix the two, it's deadly.
Got you. So
right?
Discuss narrative.
Simplicity, emotional and logical at the same time. And rule number 3 is, you have to answer your whys before you answer your what and how. So let me explain that a bit. People will buy what you are doing based on why you are doing it. Why is it relevant today? Why you are the right person to be doing it. If you can explain those things, what exactly you are doing and how exactly you are going to do it are things that they will be okay to kind of overlook.
So you're saying what versus why is it?
Yes. So what is kind of important, but what is going to change, how is going to change, why should not change. Why am I doing it? Because I am the right person. Why? Because this is an opportunity which is possible only today, post, say, AI has happened. Right? Why you are the right person? Because I have already built an AI company for last 4 years, and I am an IIT Delhi computer science graduate who who understands AI at a very deep level and this and that. So I'm the right person to be doing this thing.
Got it. So what you're telling me is that why is something that is a constant? What changes? We discussed that. How any which ways is going to change? We all know that it's not going to work the way we want it to be.
That's right.
Interesting.
So focus on your why. If you have a strong why, everything else can be taken care of.
Makes complete sense to me.